Your Next Big Move podcast for anyone involved in the buying and selling of businesses that wants to know how to do it right. Hosted by Zoran and brought to you by Exclusive Business Sales. Sell your business with certainty.
Hello, and thanks for joining us for this episode of Your Next Big Move podcast. Today, we're thrilled to have Stephen Kay, a renowned business coach, share his insights and experience with us. Stephen has been coaching businesses for over 2 decades, helping entrepreneurs and business owners achieve their goals and take their companies to the next level. In this episode, we'll be diving deep into the different approaches to coaching business owners, the benefits of franchising businesses, and the importance of successful business sales. We'll also explore Stephen's coaching style and why it has been so effective in helping his clients achieve their goals. If you're a business owner or entrepreneur, this episode is for you. Whether you're just starting out, looking to grow your business, or preparing for a successful exit, you'll gain valuable insights from Stephen's extensive experience and expertise. So sit back, relax, and get ready to learn from one of the best in the business coaching industry.
Thanks, Steve, for coming. All right, so we've known each other for a long time, probably 20 years, and there's 2 reasons why I wanted to talk to you on this podcast. One is, every time we have a business that we sell or comes to us to sell, that the owner's been coached, it's much better business than not always, but in a lot of cases, it's a really good business, much better business to sell, and we achieve better prices. The other reason is you've been coaching businesses now for about 25 years, I'd say, and about 25 years whole coaching industry, business coaching industry started, and in one stage, if you go to networking event, the only thing you're going to meet is a business coach and life coach. That has changed now, but there's very few people like yourself that have been coaching for as long as you did. And I find that people that stay in that industry since the beginning and still are in the industry, that they have become very, very good coaches, very good in what they do. So my first question for you is, what makes a good coach?
Well, thanks, Zoran. Thanks for having me here today. It's a great question. Yeah, I started coaching in 2001. It was a fairly new industry back then. When I got into it, I had a managerial background in general management, so I'd worked across all different facets of the business. And the question about what makes a coach, well, in one word, it's called experience. See, a lot of people leave a job or a management position and then turn up into coaching and they think, you know what, well, I know it all, so I'm going to now teach everybody else how to do this. And as we all find out is that if you only tell everybody what you know, then your relationship stops and then they don't need you as a coach anymore. So coaching, you know, probably took years, probably 5 years to really start moving along, and people got more and more experience, and what they learned from that, it's a bit like a sports coach where you can't be a great football player and be a great coach within a couple of years. You need years and years and years of working with people to get results.
So years and years of coaching after you stopped playing.
That's right. Because you can be a great player, you can know business and you can run a business, but now you've got to teach everybody else how to run it. But they've all got different skills and their behaviours are different and their communication style's different. So what makes a great coach at the end of the day is spending, you know, your 5 to 10 years minimum before you start working out. I mean, Wayne Bennett's 71 and he's finally worked out he's a pretty good coach. But as they say, it's not about football. It's about man management. It's how to get people, all right, to get to be the best. And when I coach people, I've got to see potential in them that a lot of the time they don't know.
So it's almost like when you're talking about business coaching, you're not talking about business, you're talking about people. You're coaching a person, not a business.
Correct, and most guys that have been coaching a long time will say we only spend 20% of our time on business planning and business strategy, 80% on getting the human being, the business owner and the team to actually adjust what they're doing and adapt to new ways and to make some change, all right, of their own behaviour, because a business will only grow when the leaders actually grow first. A lot of people think, oh, you just grow businesses. I've grown businesses 20, 30, 40, 50%, but the owners don't keep up. And that's what we learn. There's no good growing the business too fast if the owners cannot run the business once you've grown it.
Yeah, interesting angle. Look, I went through coaching system with your business partner, Simon, yes, and that was years ago. I think it was
Probably 2001,
2002. And what I got out of that, yes, you work on yourself and your attitude changes towards a business, but also the other stuff like, systemizing business and taking different approach towards a business rather than doing it by actually making a systems. They're gonna, people, then anybody can run a business. So while it is about the people, but it's also about business as well. And you said like 80% you work on people, 20% on the business. Is there any tricks to balance that? What's more important? Or does it depending who you're coaching and what kind of business you're looking at?
Yeah, it depends on the person because of their knowledge. I mean, most people, when they get into business, didn't come from a management position or have an MBA or something and learn how to run a business. In some ways, I'm not being critical on the accounting industry, but, after being coaching for many years, is that everyone has an accountant and yet no one has a business plan. So if the most important thing in running a business is having a business plan, even if it's 2 pages, 3 pages, 4 pages, it makes people understand their business by answering questions and breaking them down. If you only judge a business on your financial tax return every year, you're not going to be successful in business. Tax returns is the past. What you need is a really good plan and a forecast for the next 1, 2, 3 years. And that's where I see the potential in people. I want to know if we build this business to this particular degree, can you handle it? Can you run it? Or are you going to abdicate it all and get somebody else to run it for you?
Mm-hmm. So let's touch on that now. Business plan. What makes a good business plan?
Yeah, great point. And again, an experienced business coach who would help break that plan down. And what makes a good business plan? The questions, I suppose, and the questions come from what are the key goals? What are your objectives? What are you trying to do here? So first of all, understanding that. How well they understand their financials. Again, if you want to make some serious money in life and business, you've got to understand how money works. And I'm surprised with the amount of people that can't even run their own budgets at home, understand paying bills and things. So I'm not sure how you run a business if you don't know how gross margins, expenses. So my job in the first 12 months is really help people understand financials month by month, how you make money in a business and what costs you if you're not doing a good job. So from a business plan, you've got to think goals, objectives, financials. You've got to have a marketing plan. I'm always interested for the amount of accountants that don't have a financial plan. There's as many marketing companies that don't have a marketing plan. And and
a lot of plumbers with leaking taps. So
exactly. The carpenter's got problems around his own house and things. Mechanics, his car's broken down. It's all the same, as you know. So, key goals, objectives, financials, marketing plans. They need to have an organisational structure. What people do what in the organisation, all right, and really understand roles and responsibilities.
So you mentioned something earlier. So you start, 3 or 5 years, and then you work backwards, and then you get it down to, 1 pages quarterly or daily. How do you do it?
Yeah, I get all my planning down to 1 page, and it's within 90 days. I'm not afraid of saying this, but because back in about 2002-3, I've only been in coaching a while. And there was one thing that I found when I was coaching people is that 12 months was too far away. And if you try to coach people on weekly and monthly, it was too close together.
Too close, yeah.
So what we did is a few of the coaches and I come up with what we call 90-day planning. It's synonymous around all business now. We did start it because it come from a place of when the government instigated BASs. Remember, every 3 months we had to now do financial reporting. So we then started thinking, if you've got to report financially every 3 months, your plan should be 3 months. So that's your short-term plan. Mm-hmm. And then that leads you to your 12-month goals. All right? And every 3 months we would do reviews, put people in a room. You probably remember that when you were coach. But we would do a 3-month planning session, and then we would coach people on weekly, fortnightly, And then each month we would see how they're going, and every 3 months would be the review and then reset again. Totally in line with the BAS system.
Okay. So who needs a coach? How do you know that you need a coach? How does the business owner knows he needs a coach?
Well, I suppose the first question is have you reached your potential in running a business? And you've only got to ask that question to most people, and they'll say, no, I think I can squeeze a bit more or do better.
You always can. It's like, learning to play music. You never stop learning. Same with business. You never reach. There is no the end.
There is no potential at the end of the day either. Your potential stops with you.
Yeah.
You basically say, no, I'm done. I don't want to work any harder. I've got to where I am. I'm making enough money. I mean, I've had clients that come to me, and nearly everyone's referred to me, and the first few questions, and people can say, look, I'm not sure how you can help me because I'm really making a lot of money. And I say, well, how good's your life? Like, is your life where, not really, I'm working too hard. Then they start justifying as I've got a business that makes money, but I'm not happy.
But it also makes you think, and then you understand there's, like what you can get out of the process.
Yeah. And just to answer your question a little bit further, is does everyone need a coach? Well, if you don't think you want one, you don't think you need one, and you're not really sure, you're probably not ready for one.
Yeah, okay, I'll challenge that a little bit. Okay. How do I know whether, now a little bit more people understand business coaching and business consulting. But go back some time ago, no one knew what a business coach does. Your challenge wasn't a competition. Your challenge was a market not understanding of what you do. So what should business owner expect from business coach?
It's interesting, after 5 years of being in coaching back about 2005, the research was less than 1% of businesses knew what coaching was. So if you can understand there, then about 2010, 2012, I think it was up to about 6%. So it's only been the last 10 years. I think you'll probably
What's it now?
I think you'll probably find it's 75% of anyone in business knows coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Boys, it's because it's promoted everywhere. You find them at every networking meeting. You find them everywhere.
But you also meet people that went through coaching, and you ask them. It's common question now when somebody's successful in business to say, "Hey, who was your mentor? Who coached you through the process?" Go back 30 years ago, it was you. No one coaches me. It's me. I'm self-made. Now it's kind of more accepted. No, I had a help. I paid people to help me out through the process. So what does a business owner should expect from coach?
Many objectives. I suppose when we sit down with people, we find out what they actually need help with first. And they really do understand that there's a few different things. They're either working far too many hours and disorganised, so there's time challenges. They're either not making enough money, understanding the financials. The last few years it's been around people problems. I get referred, as I said, a lot, and most of my clients, I would say, haven't learned how to manage people in a business very well. So we've got to go back to 101 with just how do you manage a business. So, and then the other one that stands out is just understanding leadership, the difference between leadership, management, being a technician, and how to break all that down. So again, most of my clients referred, and probably to answer a question you said before about knowing coaches, you'd be surprised. I'm coaching people today that have already had 1, 2 or 3 coaches before.
Okay, so obviously they didn't get from their coach what they wanted to. So what they didn't get? I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, good.
That part when
well, there's many different ways.
Yeah, okay.
Different things, but one in particular would be we got so far and they had nothing else to give me, and it was like, well, that's interesting because it's your potential, it's not mine. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
So we're probably going to never get to everything you need to learn about business, because if it grows, you see, people think that a $1 million business is different from a $3 million business, is different to a $5 million business, to a $10 million business, to a $20 million in small business. What it takes you to get to your first million is just hard bloody work. Mm-hmm. Anyone will tell you that. Hard work, a lot of hours to get you there, and then you need team members. But getting you to $3 million, you need to be able to have a management structure and people to help you manage it. Getting to 5 and 10 million, you need a full management team and a lot of accountability back on those people. So if you don't grow as a person and as a leader, then your management team will take over from you. And that's why some people sell businesses, because they can't handle the next stages, so they want to get out. They tap out, as we say. Oh, it's all too hard, and maybe we should get out of the business.
Yeah, it's a common. They experience this burnout, and either I'm willing or unable or don't know how to change, so they decide to exit. And look, it's good for them. It's good.
Yeah. But they do come all different ways. As I said, they get. One of the big ones is that they get stuck, they get lost, they don't know what's next, they're not competent at certain things, their financials are a mess, and they're really not understanding that, can't find right people. It's
okay. So give me some of your successes when you had people in similar situation, and if you got specific examples that you can talk to. You don't have to mention any names, obviously, but bit of a case study.
Well, my case study is pretty easy because you probably know it as well. But I coach the business. It's Platinum Electricians that become a quite large franchise and well known around Australia now, national company. And that business, we met in a networking function when he was doing less than $1 million and had about 3 or 4 vans on the road. And Josh wouldn't mind me saying him and using him as that example because of where he is today. But I remember with Josh that we started, and he said after about, I think it was within 6 months, this is just too much, too hard. I'm not going to be smart enough to know all this. I better stop coaching. And this is what happens to people. I said, no, you can't give up yet. You can't give up.
It gets overwhelming at the beginning because it's all new stuff. Yeah, because learning anything new. Yeah,
because back then the coaches we wanted to teach you everything. Instead of going, hang on, they can only take so much. And that's what the experience is you can't teach everyone everything. Why give all your information away in 3 to 6 months? You don't get paid after that. So my average clients go for anywhere between 5 and 10 years now because they see me as a mentor after a coach. So they just want me to hang around. But my case study, Platinum Electrician. So I said 1 million. That business could be anywhere up to 100 million by the time you can count add all the franchises in and things, but it grew it took over 10 years to grow the business properly, and then took another 10 years to get it where it is today. So a lot of people hear of overnight successes. No company grows and expands overnight. Again, it's the knowledge of how to be a great leader. And my case study in such is that Josh has learned how to become a great leader of people. All right, it's an electrical business. They still all do electrical work. But you know what? The electricians do the work. His job is to make sure he can hire 100 of them and they can get the work and they can do it. So
and provide a good environment for them to actually do what they're supposed to.
If you ever went out to his office and understood the culture and how he nurtured people, and people been with him for 20 years and things, and they're in his management team. So, yeah, other people come and go. But for him, a great leader of people, understands people. He's probably a coach of his team and a mentor for a lot of his other people. He's helped them buy their own homes, and he's seen them nurture from apprentices up to managers in a business. So, it's learning and never wanting to stop learning. And if you lead people the right way, they'll do all the work for you. The silly thing about business is you only have to lead them to the right way, and they do all the work. You don't have to do any work. The best leaders in the world don't do any work. They just have the right strategy.
I'd challenge that as well. That leadership is a hard work. Maybe you don't do physical work, but motivating people on a daily basis, and getting them through challenges and the problems and successes as well, helping cope with both good and bad things. It is a hard work. So are you still working together?
I still do work with Josh and his wife Alana. They own a OneCo foundation.
Uh-huh.
So that foundation is to raise as much money through other businesses as possible, and they refer me clients and things still today, and we still talk to each other on a regular basis.
So from 1 to 100, in about 20 years. But
And
that's
he'll
what it
tell
takes,
you if he can do it, anyone can do it.
And
It's not always true. Not everyone will do it.
what do you think? So those that don't do it, what's the biggest obstacle for achieving success in business?
Yeah, most of the time it's their own fears. A lot of people, you'd be surprised, the fear of success. I'll have people that do really well and then they don't want to buy a new car, or they don't want to live in a nice home, and they don't want to go and buy things because they think it's materialistic and I'm not deserving of it, and I don't want to lose all my friends, instead of saying, no, there's a way we've got to work through all those things. So being successful is, you've got to have a whole bunch of attributes to be successful. We understand that. But sometimes they see the consequences of success is worse. And they don't want to lose all their friends and family because they think they're doing too well. So we've got to coach people through those type of things.
So how do you expand on that a little bit more? How do you help them get over that feeling that, the success is kind of a bad thing?
Yeah, well, that's part of the whole coaching, I suppose, program, is that they've got to learn what success means. There's success principles, so that means you might have to be more consistent in life. One of the big things I do with people is that I'm allowed to be honest with them. So when I look at what they're trying to do versus their behaviour or their knowledge, I've got to work on that. That's that 80% we talk about. And I've got to say to people is that your discipline, is quite low, or your consistency, you chop and change all the time. You'll never get anywhere in life chopping and changing, all right? And hearing your mates and what everyone tells you to do in business, everyone can listen to ideas, everyone can listen to podcasts, everyone can read books. But at the end of the day, how do you corral all that information into what works for that person? So that's where people behaviour is really important, because we're not all a Josh Nichols, we're not all a Mark Boris, we're not all Elon Musk, we're not all those people. All right, we're all our own self, so it's very important to make sure that they don't lose who they are, all right, and who they hang out with, and what their key values are in life. I mean, everyone talks about culture, but culture's values, and a lot of values in business come from within yourself. You've got to understand who you are and what you want, what your purpose is, all right. If we can get that right, all right, then they don't all want to be multimillionaires. Most people just want to have a good life. And you'd be surprised in small business. I've got people out there making $1 million a year, and they're still the same people. They're just learning how to use that money to
So what's a
invest.
good life for them?
Well, choosing to have holidays whenever they want is what most people love about owning a business and making plenty of money, is that they don't have to work all the time. And they can enjoy great holidays with family and friends and things, more than anything. Time is precious.
So it's a freedom, it's a choice.
Freedom, yeah.
They give you.
Money is no more to people as a choice.
So these people that are successful in business, what attributes do they have? What's the attribute? What are the attributes of good business and successful business owner?
Well, it's an interesting one, because everyone will tell you that's been in coaching for a while, and you hear a lot on TV today when they talk sport, is attitude is the most important thing. But I break attitude down into character. I think you've got to be a really good person, all right?
A bad attitude is also attitude. So
yeah.
What do you mean by attitude?
Yeah, you know what? Look, I love toughness. I love all that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, I love competitive people. But I think if your character's one of being a kind person when you need to be, you need to, get the best out of everyone. But for me, character, your value system, humility's big today. There's no good making a lot of money if you become arrogant and ego. That's not for the place. If you're an arrogant, egotistical person, everyone picks you out. You don't have a lot of friends. You might make money, but they won't want to hang out with you. So you always judge a lot of your best relationships on going out to have a beer with them on a Friday night.
Yeah.
So character is pretty huge for me. Look, today, and I suppose you'll probably think this is a little bit different from what you hear generally, but I think mental toughness is a key to success today.
More than ever. Yeah, it's been the last few years. You needed the mental toughness.
It's not easy with running people. I mean, government change rules all the time. The staffing. Clients are becoming tougher than ever. Everyone thinks they know everything. Let's just put it down.
Well, everyone's got information access to information for everything.
Yeah, Google's everyone's best friend that teaches you.
GPT now.
Well, yeah. As they say, it's 80 or 90% correct. You still got to work through the information. But for me, mental toughness, because when you work with people, there's no point if they then get buried in all the information and things like that. And for me, you've got to be able to handle frustrations. It's like playing sport. You don't win every week. So you've got to learn to lose. And you've got to learn to be injured. You've got to learn to get other people to help you. There's a whole bunch of things with mental toughness, and I don't want to get into all the other things around our mental toughness, but
like everybody gets a medal for participation.
Okay,
let's not go there.
we won't go down there, but mental toughness almost is about controlling your own emotions. You'd be surprised that it all starts from when we're kids and things like that, and people throw their toys out the cot, we say, and things like that. If you're still 35, 40 years of age and you still throw your toys out your cot in business, then you've got some challenges. So I have to work with a lot of the emotions. We have to level people back down, and we've got to change all that, because you can't be like that. You can't run around highly emotional.
So let's just go back. You're highly emotional, but it's good. It's called passion, all right?
Mine's passion. Come on, that's different. That's different.
This mental toughness, I still like, you got to control your emotion, but what is exactly mental toughness? I mean, it works both when you're successful to control your ego, but how does mental toughness express itself in the tough situations, like lockdown and the customer, your business is shut? Like, what does the mental toughness mean in that case?
Oh, look, it's a great question, and I'm going to answer it because of COVID. Yeah. All through COVID, I worked with about 20 different clients at a time, and through COVID, only one or two of them had to shut for a period of time. Otherwise, we kept everyone moving. And this is mental toughness to me. I would normally talk to clients on average every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
All right. I talk to my clients once or twice a week. So what I did, I picked the phone up and said, I just need to talk to you more regularly. We need to go through everything that's going through your mind right now emotionally, because the rules were changing, as you know, day to day.
Yeah.
So mental toughness for me is saying, let's stick with the basics. What do we need to do here? You know what? I was the guy that was dead against all these people out there and talking about you've got to pivot. 95% of businesses did not need to pivot, all right? They needed to adjust and adapt. And that was the word that I was using. No, we don't need to go and change and start creating something different.
Make a different business, yeah.
No, look, if you didn't, the only thing you need to pivot is if you didn't have an online business and you're a cafes restaurant and you didn't have online, you probably need to be able to sell things, okay? Because people needed to be able to still get it. But for majority of my clients was, whilst we're open, we're going to make sure we've got business, all right? We can pay our people, and we got more business coming in. So I kept all the basics. Where's your cash flow? What's your profit look like, and things like that. So for me, mental toughness was talk to people regularly to keep their emotions in check. All right? Don't get carried away with silly things. Just stick with the basics, and I'll get you through.
And keep the big picture.
Yeah. Don't chase the big bright, lights that people say that they get caught doing.
Yeah, stick to whatever the plan is, and be tough in going towards it. All right. Any other attributes for good business owners?
Well, I'm going to stick on that same thing because it's my next point, if that's okay.
Yeah.
And it's called staying on track. The amount of business people that say, "Oh, I heard about this great idea," or "I did this." The best thing about a business coach is he said, we've got a 90-day plan. Don't bring me any new ideas, all right, unless you've done your research or given me a return on investment. Because right now, the track we're going on with your business is we're A, B, C, D. I don't need more ideas, all right? Unless...
Let's execute what we're working on.
Yeah, how about we work on what we got? And you know what? The other funny thing I say to people, go away and think about it. Come back with a return on investment in a week's time. How many people come back in a week and say, Steve, that idea was pretty good. I've thought about it. It's going to be a, ball break, and then go, bang. 90% of them never go more than a week. 10% come back. So I say staying on track. And this is where the planning and coaching, people ask me a lot about, I need a coach for accountability. And I say to them, well, that's great. What do you think it is? Because I tell you what, I'm not ringing you every week to make you do something. People say, well, what do you mean? Isn't that what accountability is? I said, if you can't keep yourself accountable, then what chance has someone else got of keeping you accountable? The best discipline you can have is do what you say, which is called integrity, and have the discipline to do what you say. Because in a business, running a company, if you don't do what you say, then how the heck does anyone ever respect you? So I generally come all the way back, stay on track with me. Let's just focus on doing the same things, the right things, getting the right, then we'll evolve from there. Let's get the basics right. And we say, let's master your success, because when you master success, the profit starts moving forward from there.
Fantastic. Are there any examples of you failing to get somebody on the right direction and help them in the business? Obviously, don't share any names, but sometimes we learn way more from failure than from the success.
So do you mean that the business failed or I failed with them, or they?
Well, either or. You thought you could have done better. I tried really hard and there was potential there, but I just couldn't make it, or whatever it is. Because look, the reason why I'm asking, it's very emotional. Whole business, whole situation, whole bloody life is emotional.
Calm down, come on.
So sometimes it's hard, and sometimes you make a decisions or you make a moves that at that stage, at that point of time, look like a right move. But then when you reflect back in hindsight, you go, oh wow, there was a wrong thing. And but what I want to do, what I'm trying to find out, it's actually particular in coaching. So not in life and business and stuff like that. But when you were coaching somebody, you said, oh, if I just done this different, the result would be totally different.
Yeah, it's a really good question, I think, for all coaches, is that, look, there's one thing that probably helped me get through coaching for 20 years. I'm not a high risk taker. All right, I'm not a low, so I'm right in the middle. So I will never push people to do things that I probably wouldn't do myself. Mm-hmm. I would challenge them, and if they want to take that path, I will oversee them closely. But, what's something that I would have done a little bit different? Well, again, it comes back. I probably do it a lot more today. I didn't do it my first probably few years, 5 years, was being tougher on people. We all talk about challenging and running businesses and how hard it is for people. As a coach, I had to learn to be a bit tougher on people and help them understand consequences of not making decisions or doing stupid decisions. So I suppose being brutally honest is something that a coach needs to learn. You can't do it too fast, too quick. You've got to make sure that you've been respected. So I always let people know, is it okay if I'm about to say something to you? It's probably going to offend you. And I think your partner's told you this once before and you've never believed them. But is it okay if I tell you how I feel about some situations? And I think that brutal honesty thing, and you have to push people. And if the consequence of that is that people want to give up, I learnt that's okay, because I'm not going to let them give up. So the worst thing a business coach can do, or anyone in coaching, is turn around and go, oh, you know what, you won't do what you say and all that, so I'm going to stop coaching you.
On the other side, saying, oh, everything is great, good effort. Well, if it's not good effort, tell them it wasn't a good effort.
But what I was going to say is that when people come to you because they need a coach, they need someone to help them and get them more accountable to actions and doing things. So if they won't do it and you let them go, you've never done anything as a coach. You've taken their money and you said, I've let you get away with everything, thanks for the cash. And that's not right. If people come to you and they say, these are the top 3, 4, 5 things I want help with, you've got to get them through to learn those things.
You got to find a way to get them through. Otherwise, you failed, not them. Yeah. Exactly.
And they turn around and you think you fail as a coach. And you say, no, but you've got to make sure they understand they're failing too. And do we both want to fail? Because that's lose-lose for both of us. I want to win. I'm in business because I want to win.
And having a conversation like this heart-to-heart with them would obviously help. And, it's not you. We're working here as a team, and we're going to get through it as a team.
Every now and then I've nearly been hit, or I can tell someone's getting feisty and I can see in their face, you want to hit me right now. If you say it first, then they won't hit you, see.
Okay.
I've always learned if you say it first, they won't hit you. So,
okay, we're kidding about it. It's a bit of a joke. But actually, when you get into this situation, that's it. That's the point that you need to balance it on. And this is where the things
I'm not
do
trying
happen.
to be a nice coach. Like, being nice is
not going to help. You want to you want to get the results.
Well, I'm going to tell you a statistic, and I don't think I'm far away from it, but it's 67. 2 out of every 3 people get into coaching are out of it within 2 years. They don't make any money or they don't get it. So that's why you see so many coaches.
Look, it's not for everyone. You do have to have a special talent for doing that. For example, I don't work with kids. Right? I work with my kids, and I'll tell you, like teachers and early childhood educators, the talent that these people have with these little people is just amazing.
Putting up with other people's kids, it's a great trait.
But I would never be able to do such. Okay, maybe if I really put my effort into it and train really hard and everything else, but to them, most of the teachers, that thing comes natural, and coaching is not far from the teaching. So you need to have some sort of natural either talent or love for it that you want to learn, and testament to you doing this for 20 years. You're obviously doing it all right. Otherwise, you'd be part of the statistics a long time ago.
Well, it's funny when you say coaching, because I don't think everyone understands what coaching is. Really, coaching's an end result. So you're a teacher and you're a trainer. Got to be a good facilitator. You've got to be good at consulting at a certain point. So they all become facets of what coaching is. You've got to be able to be a bit of everything to everyone, because it's a generalist position. Like where a lot of people, I think, have made a mistake, they want to become specialist coaches. They only want to do one thing. Well, that's great, but that's not coaching, that's consulting to me. That means you're very good at working with, say, plumbers. Yeah. If you want to be fantastic at working with plumbers, that's great. But I tell you what, you'll be bored in a couple of years.
No, but there's a space. Some people that suits them and they want to specialize in, like you said, they want to be consultants. Okay, so let's move on a little bit. We do sell businesses, and all these podcasts about businesses, and the reason why I'm talking to you as a coach is how to build a good business and everything else. And the answer to that, work on yourself and then the business will come. But I want to touch a little bit on franchising. I know that you develop some franchise systems or help people develop some franchise systems in the past. And I also know that you got mixed emotions about franchising. It can work, it doesn't have to. So I wanna explore that a little bit. Okay, what's your opinion on franchising? Like, business comes to a certain stage, and should we franchise or should we not franchise?
Yeah, again, it's a tough question because every business and industry is different. A lot of it comes back down to, yes, you can probably franchise anything. But what do people really, can they run it? I mean, franchising is not for everyone, because sometimes you don't make a lot of money in franchising until you hit a certain level. And if you're working off percentages, sometimes you do all this work, all right, to get a very small percentage, all right? And then all of a sudden...
Hang on. What are we talking? We talking franchisee or franchisor?
Yeah, both. Well, there's a franchise fee, but it could be a percentage of turnover.
So I want to franchise my business, so I'm a franchisor, yeah?
Yeah.
And I'm charging a percentage. So you're saying, look, not always, sometimes growth strategy to franchising is not the best strategy for the business. Yeah.
So like I've analysed businesses, I then refer them to a franchise expert and things like that. But, sometimes I like seeing businesses grow by going national themselves, or having different divisions, or having multiple offices and things. So I don't just recommend franchising because it's a good, fast way to grow your business.
I'll come back to franchising, but just want to touch on coaching. So now, who makes a decision in coaching, or is that a joint decision? So we're thinking about the growth strategy, and are we going to do special? Are we going to go national, or are we going to go in certain direction, or are we going to do the franchising? How's that decision made when you work with your client? Is it a joint, or do you actually pass all decision making to them, and you just help them through the process?
Yeah, well, I think you just explained it all pretty well. Normally when people start thinking about it, you send them off to understand someone else that's franchised. Like the best way is that don't think about franchising if you don't understand it. So we would normally send them out to see other and talk to other franchise owners. So you go and pick 2 or 3 people. The other thing is that it's not, I just don't come up with it. At the end of the day, they come up with it, but then we'll bring in their accountant in. We'll have another advisor from the franchising if we want. So generally we go through, and it takes months and months before you start working.
So you would like a project managed decision making?
Yes. Correct.
Okay, good. Because a lot of people go to consultants and they said, okay, how do we do this? Well, let's first see if we should do this. So your job is not to make a decision for them, but actually make them
understand
and get enough information. Now back to franchising. The reason why I want to talk about it, because we do often get the businesses to us that are either franchised or thinking about franchising, and I will get a franchise expert to talk further. But I wanted to touch on this with you more because I know that certain things are for us and things are against. And what I've seen a lot in the franchising, that people saturate the market very quickly. So what happens, you got a white collar franchise, and I said, wow, sweet, I'm making a few $100,000 a year. So if I sell these systems that I made and I put another 20 people out there and get 10% of them, I'm going to double my money and I won't do anything extra than what I'm doing because it already exists. And then I managed to get 20 franchises, and then I found out that I'm making no money because now these 20 people need the support and everything else, and what I'm charging them is not enough. So then I'm employing people to take care of those people. You see where this is going? So now I need more franchises. So I sell even more, and all of a sudden we become competitors to ourselves. And that happened a lot in your industry, in coaching industry. In one stage, there was, each suburb had about 4 coaches. All right, so. And eventually goes back. Certain other industries are going through that at the moment, and some are geographical based, like a real estate, and you can do it, but some you really, really cannot do it. And where the problem is also, another issue with the franchises is when you get a new franchisee, at the beginning, they're not making any money, so you as a franchisor are not making enough, so you can't actually give them support. Then there's a sweet spot that everybody's happy. But then when that franchise, again, happens in real estate a lot, all of a sudden we got a really, really good franchise, and they're saying, well, why am I giving all this money? Because I don't need you anymore. So how do you mitigate all this if you were to decide to go and franchise your system?
Yeah, franchising is not easy, so it's probably a whole topic, and you'd need other franchise people to come involved. But Australia's a different market. See, franchising was huge in America and those places because it's a great thing. They buy themselves a job and things like that. In Australia, I think franchising, we had the big, the growth of it, but I think that's stagnated now, and it's probably gone backwards because a lot of people did actually just buy themselves a coffee shop or a retail store and things like that, and they only just make a living. Like for me, when I look at every business, and I've probably coached 50 different franchises, it's not about making a living. If this business can't actually work without you and get you out of it, like you shouldn't be serving at the counter all the time, all right, in a business, all right? Most people, you buy a business to build it, to have your team look after it, and then open more if you like. I was always into the multiple franchises. Like if I own one, I'd want to own 3 of them in 3 different locations. So because that was less work for the franchisor as well. The franchisor had not 100 little fellas running around or 100 sites. If they had 30 sites and they all owned 3 sites each, then you could build businesses out of them. When everyone has one each, a lot of people just don't make any more than a big wage, and that's not enough. I want them to build businesses out.
So
of
what's
them.
what would be your tip for successful growth of the business through franchising?
Well, it's got to be, as you said, in an area where it has got the potential growth and you can actually take on competitors. You've got a great product that everyone wants. But as in a lot of things, it only lasts for a few years, then people don't want it anymore.
And it gets copied and it becomes a competition. And in franchise, what I find, the changes are much harder to do because, hey, I didn't sign up for this.
Well, the funny thing is that a lot of people I did coach in franchising, they're a certain type of personality and behaviour.
Yeah.
That was a job. So they were never going to grow it exponentially and things like that. And so you've got to see, I think franchising was developed and things for people to buy themselves a job in a lot of ways and be very good at it, make some money, and then if they wanted to, they could.
But okay, so if I assume that person that's going to buy my system are happy to do and follow the instruction, and they want a job and they're happy with that, from me as the business owner of the franchise system, is that a good strategy to grow or not?
Well, you got to keep developing your system. Don't forget, every 5 years businesses evolve.
Yeah.
Well, so if all of a sudden you're selling hot dogs and it's still the same hot dog in 5 years, I mean, unless you've changed flavours and put something in, I mean, look at our best franchise system probably in Australia is McDonald's. How often are they marketing and telling you about a new product there? It could be the same product they brought out 6 months ago, but they've rebadged it. But they market new products. They get you going back to get a new product. If you got snap printing and you're still selling paper and business cards, I'm not sure how much longer you'll be around.
Yeah.
So they had to go into graphic design. They have to go into other things. They've got to develop boxes. You've got to do other things.
Absolutely. So, because even if you don't want to grow the business, the industry changes around you and you got to adopt. So it's consistent growth. All right.
Because what you did say, I'll go back to a question you did partly ask, was that once the franchisee thinks they know everything, they've got the system, and it's all running really well, they don't need you anymore, then the thing is they don't want to pay you all this money. Like if you've got a really good franchise, you start paying them lots of money, and in some cases...
That means that you as a franchisor not providing any value to them.
Yeah. So the value proposition changes. When you're in the first year or two, the value is they just ring you every day or two wanting to know everything. After a few years, they don't want to ring you, but then they don't. Then they start feeling the value's not there, so they want to negotiate your fees down all the time.
So what you got to do? You got to make a franchise. If you want to have a successful system, helping new people start, but then keep on developing them so they want to stay.
Yeah, you develop, you add new products, you improve your systems. You've got to add all the time.
Yeah, you got to change. You got to change. They have to see the value. All right, cool. Now I'm getting into area that I actually understand. All right.
Oh, this is the real part of the interview now, is it? Right.
Now, look, you in your gigs and people that you worked with, I know you helped through process of selling and through process of growing through acquisition, few people or few businesses. So let's talk about it a little bit. What's your experience in buying and selling businesses?
Well, let's go with the selling. If I've got a client that starts, usually they're not selling from day one. It comes up as part of probably the coaching and pushing them, developing the business to a certain point. Then they think, wow, the business is worth more money. Can I sell it now, or it's time to get out? I don't want to do any more with it. So if I go through the process of selling businesses with clients, I obviously get the accountants involved and really look at valuations and understand that. And an evaluation isn't just from an accounting point of view. A valuation of business is if a business works without you, it's all built on multiples and things. So for me, I look at selling business. Can it work without you? Have you got a good team in place? Does the business have systems in place? can it basically get clients and attract business.
How easy can we pass ownership to someone else? Yeah.
Well, if it's all set up properly, an
Shouldn't be
owner
that
will
hard.
come
Yeah, that's
in,
what I'm getting at.
and a lot of the businesses I've sold, the people that actually buy the business don't come and buy them to work in them. If they're that well run, they buy them to invest, and they keep the management team there.
Okay. So have you had a situation in the past that, people engaged you specifically for helping them grow the business to the level that they can actually exit?
Yes. And a lot of the time, those are the people that don't sell the business, though.
Okay, so
Because they start seeing how it can grow and build and work without them. I've always said you can sell your business for $1 million, but if I'm helping you make $1 million a year, why would you sell it?
Why would you sell it? Like, the reason why they came to you was a burnout because they were doing everything, and through helping them through this, the burnout is gone.
Yeah.
And now why selling it? The problem is not there. I thought the selling business is solution to my problem. Now problem's no more, so I'm gonna stay in it.
Well, if I had someone said, look, I really want to sell my business, I'd refer them straight to you. All right, and say, look, how about you just go and have a look at this? Because we've done that before, and we've said, go and have a look at it. And you remember the guys from down Peakhurst way that said they were looking.
Okay, we're not going to mention any names.
Yeah, but their business now, the profits doubled since we've spoke to them.
Yeah, fantastic. And now they're happy.
Yeah, they're happy. They've got a management team in place. So sometimes you come out, you give people food for thought is that you can sell it or you can develop and grow it. Use the coach or I'll sell it if you're sick of it. And we work pretty well together on things like that.
So did you, have you been involved in helping other people buy businesses or working as a part of the growth strategy was acquisition? Have you been involved with your clients in acquiring other businesses in order to grow the existing business?
Yep. Look, that's part of, again, when you're planning out after a few years with people, if you feel that they can add on to their business and things like that. So we go through the same process. If they want to look at a particular product they want to add or a business, I do the same thing. I said, we've got to go and investigate the business and find out, what are you buying? What do you really want? And believe it or not, probably 50% of the time we start doing that, the client of mine end up coming and saying, why don't we just go and do it ourselves? Why do I want to pay all that money when, you know what, why don't we go and find our own product and we do that? So,
can I tell you why you shouldn't buy it? Do you want to know?
To get the cash flow straight away.
Well, yeah, you're buying yourself a time because, you may going to think, all right, I can do this product and I'm going to grow this product, but the assumptions that you're going to make probably going to be wrong. So whatever you think it's going to take 3 years, double it and then double it again. That's how it works, So buying a business, you overcoming and growing through purchasing a business. You're bypassing a lot of trial and error, and you're starting from the much advanced level, and then you work on it. Anyway,
you'd be surprised how many businesses, if they borrowed $1 million, just say they were going for 3, 5, 7 years, if they grew money, if they borrowed money like they borrow for a house and backed themselves and put into their business, how fast their business would grow. Most people, and you said what makes businesses successful, that was another one, is that if you had more money and more cash and put it in the right ways and had people around you, your business would grow 10 times faster than it does without money.
Oh, okay. So that's that's a good way to grow, but it could be a curse in small business. And I have seen a lot of businesses that were making money. Well, first problem is you can't go and borrow the money. It's not that easy to borrow money to grow your business. So you need some sort of backing. You can when you're at a certain level. But if you're got a $2-3 million turnover business and you go to the bank and you say, I need $1 million, well, think again, all right? Depends what you're buying. If you want to buy equipment or something like that, you probably can finance. But if you just want it for cash flow and ideas and idea development, you're going to struggle.
Well, even if they only borrow 200,000, 300, but a lot of people won't borrow to back themselves.
But what people do to back themselves in small business, and I've seen that and spoken to a lot of people about this, is that they keep on reinvesting in their business, which is also a problem. That's why I said it could be a curse in a small business because you're not investing outside the business. So all your eggs are in one basket, and there's no investment strategy for growth of the business. But we just see how much money is at any given time in the business, and we decide, well, we're going to do this without any plan for growth.
That's why you need a coach, Zoran. So you never put money into a business without having someone around you, accountants, coaches to help
and
you
understanding and having a plan going forward to, if I'm doing this, what exactly I want to do with this, and what's my investment strategy, when do I take the money out, when do I invest outside business, what do I invest in the business. But it's a good conversation.
We'll see training, back to what you were saying, is that when you go to buy a business with someone, a lot of the time they don't know how that works.
Yep.
So you've got to also put them through education, learning and how to buy a business, because you don't want to be a coach and turn and say, well, I helped you buy it. And they said, well, I don't really know why I bought it and how it was going to work.
Correct.
So I don't want anyone to make any decision without understanding it.
Okay. So what's your opinion about growing through, well, you kind of answered that, and I really wanted to ask this, but your opinion of growing business through acquisition. So it could work, but not necessarily, and be very careful.
Yeah, well, again, because unless they've got good cash, they have to borrow the money. And as soon as you start borrowing money in small business to buy another business, all right, usually you may not get the money back for 2 or 3 years. So they've got to be aware on those things.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a good strategy? Depends on what the business is doing. Is it buying out a competitor and then you getting the niche market? I mean, that's a good reason to buy someone out, because you take it out, you can adjust your pricing. But most of the small, medium businesses that we have, they don't have the cash to go and buy a business. They might as well, I said, we can grow it quicker ourselves by using their own cash to grow, unless they wanted to do it quicker and go into another state or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, geographical acquisition of new geographical markets, it's very, very fast. It could be, well, it's got dangers, but it could be fast way to expand geographically by purchasing a business and, other branches and properties or departments, and bringing, or on the other hand, bringing new lines of products or services and selling it to your clients just because they can do it.
Well, the biggest challenge when buying, selling business is holding the people that have worked in there. I mean, if you can hold the team together, it's a much smoother transition, as long as those people want to move with you. That's all. So
okay, so when you were helping these people through their process of selling businesses, let me ask you a question. When did you decide did you tell employees that the business is for sale? And if you did, when?
Yeah, I suppose we didn't tell them we're selling the business until we realised it was about to go live. So we didn't want to preempt anything, because that does scare people. And the other thing is, some people pull out of deciding to do it.
So when you say going live, meaning closing the deal. So you already had
putting it on the market.
Putting it on the market.
Putting it on the market. So, and then you would normally sit with the management team and explain, and they had some inkling. So they normally understand, because the owner gives the vibes out and things. And then don't forget, through succession planning, it's not a bad strategy in a lot of cases to see if your management want to buy the business.
Correct.
And usually they'll say, I don't have the cash. But if there's a way of doing it, some of those guys are better off buying the business.
And look, they know it inside out. They've been managing for you for quite some period of time.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so in coaching, what's the most common advice, or what's the most common thing that you have to talk or address with the business owners?
Are you talking about selling a business, buying a business, or
just coaching in general?
What do we need to address?
There has to be one thing that you talk more often than not. I'll tell you, like in business sales, it's always a price. Like, for me, addressing where the real value of the business is before we get to it's 80% of my work. Well, yeah. Is there something like that in coaching that's a commonly?
Well, it was probably this will probably be funny for a lot of people, because when we first started coaching, a lot of the advice to us as coaches was, be careful you don't go into all the accountant's work. Don't get into all the financials and think you know it all. I mean, I was a general manager, so I understood financials and ran my business, so I knew how business worked. A lot of coaches, if they've got no idea financially, don't go anywhere near it and things. But I suppose what I spend today, after all these years, I'm probably pulling financials down, getting information from bookkeepers and accountants and explaining to them how financials work. The greatest thing people don't understand in their business is gross margin, cost of goods and margins. And that means it affects pricing strategy. They don't really know they've been giving pay rises out to staff and, staff's productivity 60% or 70% in some business, and you think, do you know your real cost? They'll look at their telephone bill, they'll look at their rent, they'll look at
because it's tangible, it's easily to calculate.
Are we using reflex paper? And you go, look, they're incidental. Like, there's a few $100s there to save a week. The biggest cost in a business in Australia is our labour most of the time. All right, unless it's a technology type thing. So I really go through the financials. I break the wages down. I look and I make sure I explain costs of labour because people think they're on $40 an hour. Their actual cost of the business is $80 an hour by the time we add everything in.
Well, you add everything in, and where's the productivity and how many billable hours and everything else, depending what type of business.
So financials and money and people, staffing, they're the two biggest ones right now.
Okay, so financials, money kind of go together, and then people.
Yep. How do you manage people today? The governments want to give them more days off than anything before. I mean, I think people only work 40 hours a week now, don't they? So it's almost like calling everyone school teachers and things.
40 hours.
40 hours. 40 hours. 40,
Isn't that normal?
40 weeks a year. Sorry, I was saying hours.
40 hours. 40 hours a week. What are they thinking? What's going on?
I think people on 40 weeks a year when they work. So you work that out. So we call them school teachers. When people take all their sick leave, their holidays, all their public holidays every year, they get about 10, 12 weeks now.
And so how do you understand, like you probably put some systems and some simplified financial modeling for people to understand. What about people? How do you address people management? Because a lot of business owners will find that part really hard. Every time I talk to business owners, they always complain about people, but it's life in general. It's people. So are there any hints in dealing with humans in general?
I got a big note here that'll just probably make everyone laugh because after coaching, 300-400 businesses, I've coached a couple of hundred business coaches. Looked across all businesses from networking points of view, and I say this, and I use this, it's a bit of a tagline, but I say there's only two real issues in the world, I find.
Yeah.
And people say, well, what are they? And I say people and communication. Because we can fix anything else, right? We can fix a system in the business, we can fix the marketing, we can fix the financials. There's everything we can fix. But at the end of the day, people, they're all different, and we're all different for good reasons. But communication is one of the things that I've seen the biggest challenge in business in the last 10 years. Ever since social media, all this type of, text messaging, and the way we communicate is now changed dramatically. And I'm not saying it's all bad, because a lot of technology is great, but I think we've lost the art of how to actually speak to people, all right, without being short messaging and things like that.
One-liners and so forth, yeah.
So my message and the answer to your question is how do you improve people in business? Communication. I'm an old-fashioned leader where I sit down and talk to people. I don't tell them what they're doing wrong and how to do everything. I sit with them and find out whether they understand what they're supposed to be doing, how to do it really well, and how to do it quickly. And if you communicate with people on a regular basis and help them, I usually find people really do jump and go, wow, I wish someone had told me about this before. I didn't know that.
So your big tip for business in general is talk to people.
Slow down, talk to people, find out how to get the best of people. Remember what I'm in coaching about? Coaching's about getting potential out of everyone. If you've got 10 people in your business and can get another 10% out, you can get rid of one or your business will grow. Most businesses can grow 20% a year without adding more people. I'm not talking about a small business. I'm talking about businesses doing $3 to $10 million can grow 20% without adding anyone because the inefficiencies in there and the poor communication.
So improve the communication, talk to people, let them understand what you're thinking, what you need, get to understand what they want out of the business, what they want out of you, get the communication going, and that will give you resources to improve the business.
You can't keep paying people more money without getting something from them. So what we've got to do is always let people know, how about if you can get more out of them, then you give them the money. People shouldn't have to come to you to ask for more money because you should be getting the value out of them, not the other way around.
And they should know what's expected from them in order to get that next.
And I know people say KPIs and all this. They're all great. That's the logical stuff. But there's an emotional thing that says, if people like working for you, they'll work bloody hard for you. If they don't like working for you,
you can put any KPIs or anything like that.
Doesn't matter what stat you give someone. That's not going to work.
No, well said. This is a good point to actually finish it, because I don't think we can say anything smarter than what we just did.
Well, we've covered it, right?
All right, look, Steve, if somebody needs a good coach and wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way to find you?
Look, I've got a website. It's stephenk.com.au. Stephen with a V, please. Don't use the PH. There's another one in the country. But it just goes through to me. But otherwise, my phone number, my mobile number's on the website and everything there as well.
What's your phone number? Give us your number.
0402 252 987, but please don't just ring me for the sake of it. But look, the one thing that I do is that I talk to anyone and everyone because I want to know their story. I want to understand it's not how much does a coach cost, what's your story, why would you need help, who's the right person, and you know what, I work with a whole bunch of coaches all over Australia. If I'm not the right coach, I'll recommend someone else. If you need something that's different to what I'm offering and things like that, I've got other coaches. I've worked with them.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Steve, for this.
Okay.
Need help selling your business, buying a business, or a business valuation? Exclusive Business Sales award-winning team are here to help. Our experience, skill, expertise, and professionalism, backed by our triple guarantee, is assurance for your success. The largest network of buyers and our national coverage will help you throughout Australia in all state capitals and regional areas. Exclusive Business Sales. Sell your business with certainty.